Welcome back to the channel. The R1 from the factory is already a fairly light bike, but being a big leader bike, it still has some heft to it. In today's video though, we're gonna address that and add some parts to really lighten it up. So starting off, we're gonna do a 520 chain conversion with this DID 520 ER V7 chain. This is a good street chain. It has some racy characteristics. With leader bikes, you don't want to go too lightweight on the chain because they make so much power, it'll actually just pull that chain apart and prematurely stretch it. This is about as light as you want to go with a leader bike, so we're going to run this ER-V7 chain from DID. Of course, we're doing a 520 chain conversion. I am actually going to keep stock gearing though. I'm not gearing it up or down for now. I like the factory gearing on the bike. I'm not trying to do massive top speed runs or do massive wheelies, so I'm just gonna leave it as factory gearing. And then we have this super sick, really trick rear brake rotor to put on the bike to lighten up a little rotational mass. On motorcycles, on track, the rear brake we almost never use because as soon as you're going into a corner and you start coming into that front brake, all of the weight lifts off the rear tire. So the rear brake at our level, we don't really use it, and this is still more than enough surface area for that rear pad to grab if I did need to touch it. We're gonna add some billet racing titanium caliper bolts in the front. Do we need to save the couple grams? No.
Probably not.
Probably not, but they look sick, so we might as well. And actually all the other hardware on the rear of the bike, we're gonna switch to titanium as well. These are the nuts that go on the carrier. These are the brake rotor bolts, and then I've got a titanium rear axle nut. Again, the bling factor, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's definitely just that little bit of extra just from the standard hardware's there.
And then the big thing though is this lithium ion anti-gravity battery. I'm not kidding. This feels like you're tossing a softball or a baseball.
It's absolutely insane.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And what's really cool is it has this sleep function. So when the bike's parked in winter, you can press this power button and the battery internally shuts itself off and doesn't have any, it won't have any voltage drop over the winter time, or if the bike's gonna be down for a couple months because I have to do this to it or anything really.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a super nice function. And does this one have the jump start feature as well?
Yeah.
Yep. Restart
technology. I'm assuming that's what.
I believe that is what that is.
Okay.
That if it like sits for a while, you just, even if you forget to turn it off,
yep,
throw it into restart mode, and it'll just restart the whole thing for you.
That's pretty sweet.
So
not only does it save weight, but has a lot of cool features, won't leave you stranded. I think these also have I think they have a battery reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if the main battery dies down because of something, like you said, it has that jump start reserve, power backup. This was like $115.
Yeah, can't beat that.
Kind of ridiculous. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. We're gonna start by knocking the chain off. I've got, check this out. So DID sells a chain cutting and riveting tool. It comes in this sweet little tin can.
And from personal experience, absolutely worth the money. Because I've worked with the Amazon garbage chain tools before, and they will literally start to bend. Like this pin will bend before the pin is crushed.
Wow.
So it's definitely worth it to just spend a little bit of extra money and go with an on-brand chain tool.
Yeah. Again, I think it was like $70, $80. We'll keep it forever.
Exactly.
Comes in a sweet carrying case. Yeah. I mean, that's worth it right there.
Buy once, cry once. It's perfect.
Well, cool. Let's get to work. So if you're new to the channel, this is my 2023 Yamaha R1. Currently, we've already done a full or 3/4 or half SC Project exhaust system in the titanium natural finish. I've added the GB Racing engine covers. I've done this carbon tank extension, which is a must-have. If you have an R1 and you're tracking it, you need to get this. It's ridiculous. It has these nice pockets cut into it. When you're leaning off the side of the bike, it's super supportive and stable. What else? A little push release gas cap, just kind of cool. And then I have done the full WSBK GYTR triple clamp setup in the front, all the billet push button switch gear, aftermarket lever, remote front brake adjuster, and I have done a Brembo 17 RCS master cylinder. That's another must-have. That thing is awesome. And then carbon front end, nice windshield. And like we said previously, today we're going to do the 520 chain conversion and be on the road. The bike currently, with about a half tank of gas, weighs 405 pounds. So I bet you with the chain conversion and the sprockets and the brake rotor and that battery, it'll easily be under 400 pounds with a half tank of fuel. And that is pretty ridiculous for a liter bike. So I'm thinking we start in the front, we'll work our way back. This is the easiest thing to do. We'll just pop these nuts, these bolts off, the factory rotors. The factory rotor bolts will pop off. And then we'll install those super slick, polished, billet racing titanium caliper bolts. I'll put a link in the description below of where you can get these if you have a Japanese or any bike, honestly. So that's probably the easiest thing you could do to kind of just clean up the bike a little bit. Get rid of this kind of ugly factory bolt. Get some little polished bling to match the other Allen key polished bolts. Pretty slick. Check them out, billetracing.co. They make these bolts for pretty much every bike out there on the market. Italian, German, British, Japanese, you name it. Now, let's move on to the chain. Yeah, dude. All right, next we'll pop a rivet off the old chain with that DID chain cutter tool, and then we can out of here. That was easy.
Yeah.
See that? The right tool for the job.
Honestly,
You spend
yeah.
a little bit more money and you get the right tool. Look how much easier that job was. Ta-da!
Boom, look at that. Easy.
I'd say so. You want to do the honors?
Yeah, dude.
There she is.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Do we want to
And there's the front sprocket. Excuse me?
Do we have any desire to save this, or?
Not after what we did to get that nut off. I don't think we should save it. I'm gonna say not this time. Well, cool. I guess now we can go ahead and pop off the rear wheel, change the sprocket on it and the brake rotor, and then it's time for almost reassembly.
Yep.
Sweet.
You still, so you don't have to take this axle stop off every time?
Not supposed to have to.
Nice. That's good.
Okay, so got the rear wheel back in the bike, changed the sprocket, changed the rotor. I've got the front sprocket loosely put on the transmission of the bike as well. Now we're gonna cut this new DID chain to length. And so we just got them lined out here on the table. We lined up the end link with the stock chain. And now we can kind of see exactly which rivet we need to pop out of this 520 chain. And then we'll be able to assemble it with the master rivet on the bike. Don't assemble the master rivet off the bike, because then you can't get it on the bike. So,
All right.
all right, get in there.
There we go.
All right, moving right along. Chain is on. We have riveted it. Should be good to go. Next, we're going to set the tension on the chain first, and then we will torque down. Then we'll torque everything down, I guess. So, almost there. Looks really sick though. Gold chain hanging out. Okay, chain is on and done. We've got it tensioned. The rear wheel is now torqued down with that titanium nut. The brake rotor looks sick. The gold chain looks awesome. We went ahead and I modified some of the WSBK race team and some of the Yamaha race teams. They cut out this plastic cover so they can get in and clean better around this front sprocket. So we did that quick modification as well. Looks pretty cool. And yeah, one last thing, swap the battery in this guy, and then we are done working on her. Okay, we didn't film the battery part. It is as straightforward as can possibly be. Take the seat out, take the old battery out, put the new battery in. It's a direct bolt-in, plug-and-play situation, and is really sick. Turn it on, everything works nicely. Of course, we've got all these sweet push buttons. And that is it. Not too bad. And there she is, all dolled up.